Okay, we're back, but let's just check out our party for a second. Because now we've got quite a few people who are level 6, so I probably want to swap them out for some people who are level 5. Let's put Koromaru in the party, thanks to that whole, you know, incident. And let's see. You're both pretty close to level 6, so... Except, do you learn abilities at level 6? No, not until level 14 do you get Death Chaser. And, yeah, your next skill is a long way off. Characters tend to learn skills very, very far apart in this one. I guess we can put Igus back, and I suppose... and swap you out, and then I think I've actually used this exact party combination before, so that'll kind of be a thing, but we'll eventually get a lot more party variety. Now that we're here, let me just quickly check out the Velvet Room and see if there's anything new we can make there. Nope, it's the exact same as it was before. We have a lot more things to sell, though. And we have a lot of new access to things. Including a new dog suit for Koromaru. And the wire jacket. This is pretty expensive, but it is good to be as protected as possible, especially on the protagonist. Of course, if you're on Risky, you want to buy them the best armor possible at all times. I'll keep that, because I can equip that on another one of my male characters. Still don't... Oh, we need one more cook page for that. But yeah, I held off on buying the Igus Armor V1, because we'd eventually have access to V2. Koromaru now has access to this. I'm not so sure about getting that now, because at this point I might want to prioritize buying armor for characters who, yeah, we already have access to a slightly better piece of armor than what they picked up, but it's going to reduce their HP and SP. Prioritize buying armor for characters who I'm going to be taking to the end boss of this floor, because we're getting pretty close. Yeah, we can definitely upgrade our main weapons considerably, but for now I think... yeah, let's not do that for the moment. I will want to upgrade my weapons by the time we get to the boss, though, but I'll also be grinding a little bit before then. Anyway, personas. You still have not come very much closer to learning Tentarafu. I really, really want that, but I guess for now we'll see. You still have that? I could afford to switch that up, actually, but you're definitely getting a Gartheon. So now you have access to double instant death. I guess we'll get... actually, you can get Nada Taishi. But that does mean that I would like Mokoi on someone. Probably Akihiko now I think about it, because he's decently fast. And then Mitsuru will take... I would give you Sarasvati, but that means Bufu is redundant. But and actually Pulimpa's redundant as well eventually, but Scarecrow's nice. I think I'm okay with this setup. You know what, Fuka? Oh, I don't actually have an Ame no Uzume. Do I fuse Ame no Uzume now? Nah, I think I'll keep with this. Oh yeah, you get told if you try and go into a dungeon without any Go-Ho-M. So, there's a very good reason for this. I didn't fully explain that the last time I was trying to talk about this, but there are actually some points in dungeons where it's possible to trap yourself between a wall and an F.O.E, and if you don't have a Go-Ho-M in that situation, obviously that's incredibly bad, so yeah, make sure you have Go-Ho-M. I'll take one more revival bead, and with that, we can leave. And I think this time I'll just cut back to where I was last time I was exploring the floor. Unless something very special happens with an enemy spawn or something like that. We've actually already seen every enemy that can appear at this point in the game. So yeah, there's no new enemies for this whole dungeon. Oh, we actually haven't seen the beetle do this before. Yes, it also has magic as well as physical attacks. It does seem like we're a little bit defensively stronger than we were before, though, because that didn't do as much damage as it used to.
Right. There is no need to worry.
Yes, even Koromaru and Igus get unique interactions mid-battle. Yeah, the F.O.E is getting pretty close there, but I felt confident in my ability to finish that fight before it got to us.
Be careful. There's an F.O.E close by.
Thankfully, we have the shortcut there. Okay, now we can go ahead and do this.
There's something over there. You want to go check it out?
Well, it's good for experience, I guess. This is pretty obvious. And what we got here? I thought so. It's just a burning beetle.
It's strong. Be careful.
Orders, leader. I'm counting on you.
So this is exactly the same as the last battle, so I'll probably be cutting this out unless anything insane happens.
Prepare yourself.
Well, I guess I can show how agility bind works in this thing. Here's another strategy that you can use against it other than panic. I prefer panic, because that gives it a chance of attacking itself. But this also prevents it from dodging, and in fact I shouldn't have used panic as well, because this means that now that it is panicked, it will often miss itself if it tries to hit itself. Wow.
Igus's damage is at a critical level. I am alright. There is no need to worry.
That was crazily bad luck. Not only did it choose to attack us rather than itself while panicked, but it also managed to hit through agility bind. Koromaru's high speed makes him a very good heal stone user. And there we go. Expect to see a lot of these going
Harder
forward.
the battle, the greater the reward.
I don't even think we get rewarded for that either. I could be wrong though.
I see.
So I like how the first instance of the picture book pretty much clues you in that when you see the
Shall we
second
go
picture
then?
book that has a monster on the cover and you know that whatever's on the cover comes alive, you pretty much know what's going to happen. So, here is another puzzle. This time we're combining rabbit puzzles with rose puzzles. So, I generally prefer to... This is the other side of a one-way shortcut, it looks like. I prefer to have this area fully mapped out before I start trying anything. Of course, the annoying thing
I'm
here
detecting
is
signals from an F.O.E.
enemy encounters
Please, be careful.
can get in the way of your exploration and puzzle solving. This one here just seems content to move across these two spaces. There's the painting, so yes, as you can see, we need to get that card soldier away from those, from that tiny corridor. However, there doesn't seem to be any roses in the immediate vicinity. I forgot you went all the way over here.
Oh, an F.O.E. Please run.
I'm getting pumped.
Igus's damage is at a critical level. I am alright. There is no need to worry.
The good news is that Igus can actually survive getting hit by an F.O.E.
Status report. My health has reached a critically low level.
But yeah, that still happens. I don't actually have any deer on this party, so I guess I just have to go for that. I don't think I've talked about the fact that if you do end up running into an F.O.E., also, yep, the roses right there, we can't get to them, at least not from that side. In fact, we can't get to them at all. Unless we lure that F.O.E. away to these roses. Over here.
The wall ahead is projecting large amounts of fishiness.
Now, here's one thing that I need to bring up about these puzzles, by the way, is that if you leave the room via a shortcut, that's fine. But if you switch rooms via a door, all of the F.O.Es and all of the roses will reset. Now that's a problem, because it means that if we use this one-way shortcut, then the only way back into this room is via a door, which will reset the puzzle. So if we want to solve the puzzle now, we actually have to ignore this shortcut. The shortcut is mainly here in case you mess up the puzzle and get trapped by that F.O.E. But yeah, this is a good introduction to the fact that entering a room or exiting a room through a door will reset a puzzle. It does feel like the encounter rate is a bit lower than usual in this room though, so that's a mercy at least. But one thing I haven't mentioned is about the fact that if you end up running into an F.O.E. while an F.O.E. is moving, and you end up escaping the battle, then you end up moving a step back, like, it resets to the state you were in previously. The F.O.E. is back where it used to be, and the, like, so for example, if I say one step forward and I ran into that F.O.E., then you saw it when I ran into it last time. When I ran from battle, I ended up taking a step back and the F.O.E. was back where it was before I ran into it. This helps prevent unwinnable situations, and it's kind of nice, but there are some situations where you actually do want to intentionally get into fights with FOEs to stall them. And in those situations, like, to stall them while another FOE moves away, and in those situations, the reset for running away can actually screw you over. But anyway, now that these roses are painted, this FOE is going to be heading back over here. So what we need to do is distract him like this. Then, without leaving the room via that shortcut, I made that mistake on a practice run, we then have to paint these roses. We then have to get out of here quickly because, as you can see, this soldier's coming over to paint those roses. But now that he's gone, we have to approach the rabbit from a different angle, just to make sure that, it doesn't run back away.
Sir, leader's health is low. Someone please heal him. Koromaru-san says he's worried about our leader.
Haven't heard that one yet either.
Please use this.
Something sounded off about Igus's voice clip there. Really off.
It's useless.
Everyone except Mitsuru, really?
Leader, please wake up. You're defenseless.
Unfortunately, Garisu does not have a voice clip for being asleep. You can only imagine what his would have sounded like.
Akihiko-senpai, please wake up. You can't guard like that.
Is the sea. Fruit.
What else would Flanderize Persona Q Akihiko be dreaming about? Haven't actually mentioned, like, for those of you who don't know what Flanderization is, it's a term that you see mentioned a lot when it comes to this game. Pixie? Really? This late into the first dungeon?
We can always count.
I've improved. I aspire to contribute even more in battle.
Yeah, Mitsuru learns Sentarafu eventually, which is kind of nice, but it would have been better on someone with better luck. What I was saying, though, is Flanderization is when what was originally only one of a character's many character traits gradually becomes their only character traits. It's named after Ned Flanders from The Simpsons, who originally was just a nice person who happened to be religious, but eventually got Flanderized into the token religious guy, and almost his entire character was based off of that. But yeah, we are almost at the end. The downside of this is there's a pretty brutal puzzle at the very end of this floor. We're getting closer and closer to that. Almost there.
There is a power spot nearby. Let us investigate the area.
But there is actually a case of Flanderization that I've seen in video games that I think is worse than anything that happened in this game. And I actually like to use it as the primary... that's going to be a burning beetle. I can probably handle it at this point, but I don't really want to risk it. That I think is a prime example of exactly what Flanderization is. So, I'm not going to go through that, because that's one way. So, in Castlevania Aria of Sorrow...
To break through the wall ahead. Open fire.
Let's do it. There's a character called Hammer, who basically acts as... I think I saw something there. Yep, that's a one-way shortcut that we don't have access to. Who acts as the shopkeeper. You meet him in the castle.
Protect everyone.
Well, they both mind charge, so panic button. Oh, dang it, I have to do the puzzle again. I haven't opened up a shortcut that lets me skip it. That's incredibly frustrating. I probably should have tried to kill those things with Hummer instead. Well, the good news is we don't actually have to lure the rabbit through here anymore. We just need to distract the FOEs. And the encounter rate does seem a lot lower. That I thought for a second the power spot had refreshed, but no, it hadn't.
Rare enemy.
It's here. Let's be careful about this.
Okay, I do have Agility Bind on one of my characters, so this could be good. However, I definitely want to get rid of the Agitating Hableri as well. Or at least prevent it from being a threat by using Disarm on it. Someone commented earlier that it would have been really cool if Disarm turned the sword shadows into hands. But anyway, Pulimpa, you don't really have much you can do. Oh, you can just try and kill off that. And Mitsuru will go for Scarecrow on the other one. So basically, Agility Bind was pretty much made for fighting these hands because it prevents them from running or dodging, two things that hands like to do. Well, the gold hands at least. There actually aren't, I don't think there are any hand-it shadows in this game apart from the gold version, so I can say hand and you know what I'm referring to. They are a little bit resistant to these elements though. But there we go, and in fact, just in time, if I guess aimed at the right one. Yeah, multi-hit attacks plus Agility Bind are actually good in general, but they're also good against hands, specifically. But yeah, it's not just hands that Agility Bind is good on. Agility Bind's great against most enemies. And I was hoping these things would show up, because this might give Empusa a shot at learning Tentarafu, which would help me kill more hands. That sounds weird out of context, but...
I missed.
Yeah, they are a bit resistant to these status ailments, but if you only really need to hit with them once, because then that happens. We've at least got a guaranteed kill on one of them.
I am alright. There is no need to worry.
They do hit fairly hard, though. This is probably gonna miss.
Target lost.
Yeah.
It dodged.
I thought so.
Run away.
We got one of them, though.
They escaped.
And yeah, we're actually getting pretty close to learning Tentarafu.
My battle capabilities have increased.
Definitely. Safeguard is really useful for Aegis. Unfortunately, at this point, you can only protect one ally with it. She'll later learn versions that protect all allies. Swordbreaker, not to be confused with the Fire Emblem skill, is also pretty useful. Medium chance of halving physical damage versus the user's row. The thing is, you actually can't tell when that activates, but you'll normally know when it does because the attack does abnormally low damage.
Aegis, you have to be careful. You appear to be in pain.
Might as well heal her. So, what I was saying about Hammer is, I forget if he's ex-military or actual military, but he's basically someone with military background who got to Dracula's castle and decided to set up a shop there for some reason.
There seems to be something up ahead. Let us get closer to examine it.
Pause for a moment because there's an event here. Ah, this one is actually kind of interesting. We get a white rose, which is a key item, which thankfully does not take up slots in our inventory. The white rose, we can't do anything with that now. It'll be important for something later in the game, but not yet. Well, I say important, but it's entirely a side thing. It's pretty useful, but it's a side thing nonetheless. Okay, Persona card. Let's see what we got here. Anzu. We might be able to make something. Was that Koromaru panting? I think that was actually Koromaru panting.
Aegis, you have to be careful.
Aegis keeps taking a ton of damage. So, this room is... This is a suspiciously empty room. We'll be able to do something in this room much later in the game. It's actually a side quest that requires the protagonist to be level 55, so that's not going to be for a while. Thankfully, though, we have opened up a two-way shortcut. So now we can finally skip over that rose room. Speaking of rose rooms, though, we're about to encounter an even worse rose room. In fact, this rose room is so bad, I'm actually going to go right ahead and... should I go for it now? I think I should go for it now. I'll go back to my hammer story later.
Huh?
Let's go.
Once again, Akihiko. So, there's 3 of them.
Hey, wait!
And now is no time to be Leroy Jenkins. They're all painting soldiers. Seriously, one of them one-shots you.
My goodness.
So, remember when I said there was a pretty brutal puzzle at the end of this dungeon? This is it. Now, this is the very end of this floor. And this is where it's mentioned that leaving a room only via a door, though, not via a shortcut. But leaving a room will reset everything. That's in fact why that rabbit puzzle down the very bottom worked. If we had left the room via the door instead of, like, this door, for example, this door right here. If we left the room via that door instead of used the shortcuts to progress through that room, the rabbit's position would have reset. So...
Looks like we have an F.O.E. on our hands.
we have roses to either side of us. And we have F.O.Es who go up and down these lines here, along with a third F.O.E, who I'll mark his route in a different colour, who patrols those 3 spaces up the top. Now, the goal with this is, see that rose bush that's actually 2 spaces ahead? The rose bush is right there. So that rose bush, if the topmost F.O.E ends up painting that one, from where he's standing now, which will happen unless we do some drastic luring at the other 2, we can't progress. So we need to make sure that the top F.O.E, the one right there, is lured down to here or here. And doing that is easier said than done. Before we do anything else, I'm going to go ahead and explore the rest of this room. That's a one-way shortcut, unfortunately, not a two-way. So we'll need to pay careful attention to how these F.O.Es move. Because yeah, there is absolutely no getting past this top area. Our goal is right there. See, those are the stairs. We need to be able to have the middle path of the top free. So if we paint this rose here, that'll mean that this F.O.E gets stuck painting these roses. We don't want that, because if we do that, we actually get stuck and can't access the other side of the room. We'll be forced to leave via that shortcut. That's what the shortcut's there for, actually, in case you get stuck like this. So what we want to do is we want to paint the bottom roses from the inside. That way we can avoid getting stuck. But in addition to all this, we also have to worry about stepping on the tiles these F.O.Es are traversing as well. Except the central tile here is not traversable unless we've blocked one of the F.O.Es. Yeah, so this is where things get really, really confusing. We can still step on that tile, though. So like I said, the goal here is to paint one of these roses from the inside so we can actually get out. And then things get a little bit tricky. Because what we want to do is, we want to actually paint the roses up the top so that one of the F.O.Es gets stuck. Yeah, it's been a while since I did this puzzle. I've kind of forgotten exactly how it works. Because, for example, if I painted these roses here, that would actually cause the rightmost F.O.E to get stuck. Now, is that something that we want or not? Because can we actually even get past this one? Okay, we can. Right. So, just for the sake of demonstration, if we wash these, the rightmost F.O.E is now stuck. So what we want to do here is, we want to lure the topmost F.O.E down to one of the bottom 2 rose bushes. Now, how we could do that is... See, here's the thing. Will this work, or will the other one get there first? If I tried painting this one... I guess I can try. Aha! Yep, the topmost F.O.E has taken the bait. So, as you can see here, we have actually succeeded at this puzzle already on my first try. Didn't actually intend that to be the case, but for the sake of, you know, completeness. I mean, for the sake of completeness, I could actually get all 3 of them stuck if I wanted to. Let's get all 3 of them stuck, just for the heck of it. And you might notice the encounter rate is mercifully a lot lower in this room. I like how they do that. And that's it. We now have the stairs to the final floor, and because that's the final floor, I'm going to mark these stairs in red, because we're going to have a boss battle on our hands soon. However, this strip right at the very top of the map here, this strip is very prone to random encounters. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this path, because that means we have a direct line back to the very end of the dungeon, and of course that would happen. I'm actually not too worried about you anymore.
Be careful.
I've been corkscrew straight. What? That didn't kill it?
That's another single hit attack that's not that great of a follow-up. I'll see if we can get anything in the Velvet Room after this. Another Sandman.
You were able to defeat that. That was incredible.
I've defeated many of those before, and only now Fuga's surprised. And the floor's not totally complete yet, because we have a secret passage here, which leads over to that treasure chest from before.
It appears to be a treasure box.
99%.
Should we check its contents?
Oh, I hate it when this happens. It was bound to happen sooner or later. Soma Droplet. We're going to be saving that for the boss fight, for obvious reasons. 100 HP, but the main benefit of this is 25 SP. At this point in the game, this is the only SP healing we have access to, minus Zen and Ray's, thing. It's probably one of those spaces the F.O.E. Oh, I actually know which space it is, because a wall didn't show up around, oh yeah, this is actually a problem.
Signals from an F.O.E.
When you go
Please
back
be
into this
careful.
room, all of them reset, and I can't actually get past you now, so I'm gonna have to come back for the treasure chest. But I'm obviously gonna save after that, because I just did that puzzle on the first try. I definitely don't want a game over after that.
Thank you for waiting.
And now we can buy Plum Potpourri if we want, but we also can buy Aegis Armor V3, which I definitely want to get, because I plan on using Aegis for the upcoming boss fight. Because the first boss, you definitely want to be using physical skills for it, because it's not actually weak to any elements. Of course, for most of the game you want to be using physical skills, but this is kind of your introduction to that. I guess while I'm checking out fusions at the Velvet Room, let's see what we got. We can actually make some new things. Orobus, Angel, and Valkyrie. I still think the only reason Angel looks this way is because it comes out of Gary Stu's mind, but anyway. Valkyrie's pretty nice. It'll eventually learn Frost Link, which is a Link skill. I guess I'll explain Link skills once we first get one, but Link skills aren't that great early in the game. They get much, much stronger when you get certain setups involving them later on. You can make some incredibly broken Link setups later in the game, or early in the game if you download Orpheus Telos, which is why I'm not downloading it early. Angel or Orobus. Orobus is more of a physical persona in this game, which is weird, since in most games it's actually magic-based. The only way to make you is Nata Taishi plus Ukabark, but actually it's a bit of a hybrid physical and magical, but I think I don't want to get rid of Nata Taishi, so a lot of ways I can make Angel, actually. Empusa and Pixie. Empusa's very, very close to learning Tentarafu, though. Azumi and Sarasvati. Well, you have more SP than Sarasvati. Slime and Anzu. Well, neither of these are personas that I particularly want, so let's go ahead and do this. Yeah, I'm fusing a lion-headed winged thing with slime to make an angel. I guess I'll just give you poison. One thing that I should mention is Elizabeth does have a unique fusion accident animation, and now might be one of our last chances to see it for certain reasons. I guess while I'm grinding for the boss, because I will be grinding for the boss, while I'm doing that... Oh, that's the only way I can make you... I don't really want to get rid of Sarasvati. I think I'll get Valkyrie later then. But yeah, I guess while I'm grinding for the boss, I'll see if I can get her fusion accident animation. If not, I'll have to just keep an earlier file and just try and reset for it, because it's a pretty low chance. I don't really think I want to switch up my party just yet, but I definitely do want to save. So I'm back here to find where that pesky 1% of the map is that I'm missing. By the way, the music on this floor has a really awesome name, Shadow in
I have confirmed the
Wonderland.
presence of a treasure box.
Ah, it's both central spots. And a spot down there. Interesting. Alright, I think I know where to go now. But I didn't expect I'd be missing a spot down here. I do have enough play coins to open this, but I prefer to actually 100% the maps. So yeah, this one spot in front of the roses is what I need.
Hey, I see an F.O.E.
Okay, that's that done. And now... now I probably want to Pseudocor a foot back to the start of the floor.
It's a rare one.
No, I don't!
It attacked us. Let us be cautious.
Be very, very quiet. We're hunting gold hands. That probably sounded creepier than it should have, but anyway.
What the? Time to make my move. What?
Persona! I
Ugh.
missed. Persona, rise up!
Target lost.
I thought so.
Too bad, but we'll get another chance. There are 3 enemies. We get to move first. Surprisingly, its true form is the Iron Ball.
You know, that actually is true. The Iron Ball is the one that has the mask on it. Never really considered it that way, but yeah, the lion is actually just an appendage. The Iron Ball is the real Shadow. Random enemy trivia. We're still getting dialogue for opening this door, which is interesting, even though we've already solved the puzzle once before. I think that dialogue doesn't go away until you actually go down the stairs. But if you fail this puzzle several times,
Looks like we have an F.O.E.
the game will actually give you hints as to how to do it. And in fact, I'm going to intentionally screw up the puzzle, because that's probably the best way to walk on these squares. Yeah, as you can see, there's no wall around that middle water square on the other side. So that proves that I have not stepped on that square before. That's also where automap is useful. If you see a square that doesn't have walls around it, it probably means...
There's 1 enemy, but it's strong. Be careful.
Orders, leader. I'm counting on you.
It probably means that you have not stepped on the square.
Leader, are you alright? Please be sure to watch your health.
You know, I never actually got to finish the Hammer story, so yeah. Basically, in Aria of Sorrow, Hammer made one comment on another one of that game's major NPCs, Yoko, being his type. One line. Then, in the sequel, Dawn of Sorrow, Hammer is back and still running the shop. But in that game, Hammer's entire character is just one big joke about being hopelessly in love with Yoko. That is, in my opinion, the best case example of Flanderization I have ever seen. Where one of a character's personality traits becomes their only personality trait. But yes, Akihiko and his love of fighting and protein is sadly a major case of Flanderization in this game. There's another major case of Flanderization that we'll be seeing later. A lot of people think that Chie was Flanderized in this game, but she's not the one that I'm referring to. I actually don't mind Chie in this game. Someone else from the P4 team, on the other hand. Anyway, though, enough on that depressing note. Let's get ourselves a Medea skill card. Now, this is another instance of Gary Stu hogging everything, but I also like to give this to the protagonist, for 2 reasons. One, it means that, like with Rakam, I now know that I'll always have a healing skill in my party regardless of who I bring to the dungeon. The second reason is that later in the game, when healing skills... This is suddenly Xenoblade 2. When healing skills get more and more expensive, this skill has been more useful to me than I thought it would be. Because now this is getting me back to the start of the dungeon so I can easily access the stairs.
Ran out of energy?
But anyway, Later on in the game, healing skills get very expensive in terms of SP, so it's nice to have a low-level healing skill on hand, just when you need to do a little bit of healing but have some SP issues.
An F.O.E.
And I'm gonna actually go down to the final floor here just to show something, because this will be the perfect place to stop. Ominous lack of music. The rabbit is back! Can we finally catch it? Nope, the rabbit was an illusion all this time. Should have been pretty obvious. But I think the rabbit was trying to lead us down here.
Yeah.
Ray is right to be uneasy here, though I do really like how this place looks. Because we have this here. This is a save point. We can leave the dungeon and save here. This now becomes a checkpoint. We can now choose whether to start the dungeon from the entrance or to start from here. We also don't need to mark this on the map, because if we select it, it's automatically marked on the map for us. Before we do anything else, though, there's no point in fully exploring these floors, because there's no map completion chest here. But this right here, this is the gateway to the dungeon's boss. And we are actually not ready for that. So, while we're viewing the scenery here, I guess I can just talk about how this is going to work. So, the first boss is actually level 15. You're expected to be level 12 for it, but I personally don't really tend to grind that much. I prefer to be level 9 to 10 for this fight. I feel it's perfectly doable at those levels. So, that said though, apart from Gary Stu, we're all in level 6, so I'm going to be going back into this dungeon and I'm going to be doing a bit of a grinding session before this boss. I want to get everyone to roughly level 9 or 10, and that might mean Gary Stu gets a little bit over level, but that's just kind of the thing with being in the party the whole time. I might tone the difficulty down to easy, just for the purposes of easy level ups on everyone else. So, I'll be doing that. For now, let's use this to head back to the base. And I'll see you again after grinding when we take on the boss of You in Wonderland. And, wait a minute for a second, Wall Perfectionist. And Floor Perfectionist. You should all have a pretty good guess of who the boss of this dungeon is going to be. So, I will see you then.